Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the state of Tennessee, in the county sheriff. And today is date early Tuesday morning, December 27, 2016, time 3:20 a.m. And the music you hear in the background is the internet radio station. It's African Nation of Uganda radio Sapientia. And thank all my family, supposed to continue encouraging and supporting and continue to keep myself employed right here in this Memphis tri-state area. I'll continue to further my education at Monroe College online, pursuing my associate study in business administration, concentration, and marketing. And I'll turn the music down a little bit. And on today's video, we're going to continue to talk about African traditional religion. And as you know, African traditional religion is being taught at institutions of higher learning, meaning colleges and universities. And in sub-Saharan Africa, you can earn a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, studying African traditional religion. And I know I'm a few minutes behind on today's video. I'm a few minutes behind. And like I say, we're gonna look at a map and see what sub-Saharan Africa is. Oh, there we go. Now, like I say, this here is a language distribution map. It shows you all the people that live on the continent of Africa. It shows you the language that they speak, shows you where they live, and things of nature. And this is the blue color represents the Afro-Asiatic. The yellow color represents the Nilo-Saharan. The dark orange color, it represents the Niger-Congo A. The light orange color represents the Niger-Congo B, the Bantu. Now, as you can see, the colors on the side there, it tells you what the colors represent. The blue color represents the Afro-Asiatic. Yellow color represents the Nilo-Saharan. The dark orange color represents the Niger-Congo A. Light orange color represents the Niger-Congo B, the Bantu. And green color, the green color represents two groups of people. The Kway people the pastoralists, the sand people, the hunter-gatherers, Now, over there on the island of Madagascar, that purple lavender color, the Austronesians. The Austronesians are the people that live in Indonesia. And the people that live in Indonesia, they migrated, they settled and colonized the island of Madagascar. And they're not the original inhabitants of the island of Madagascar. Now, this here, Niger Congo language distribution map. Niger Congo language primary branch, Volta Congo, your South Volta, Bantu, or South Bantu, or other East Benue Congo, your West Benue Congo, your Quay. Then you have your North Volta, Kru, Sanufo, Gur, Volta language, your Adamawa, Bunji language, your other primary branches, or your Quarterphone, your Mandi, your Atlantic, and your Dogon. Now, this is another Niger Congo language distribution map. Now, your Atlantic branch, Wolo, Fule, the Mandi, Bambare, Malinka, Maninka, Dayule, your Kru, your Gur, your Quay, Bali, Akan, Evil, your Dogon, your Ajor, your Adamawa, your Bunji language, your Baye, Banda, Zandi, your Quarterfani, your non-Bantu, your Aruba, and Igbo, your Bantu, Fang, Tiki, Lengale, Mongo, and Kundu, Congo, Choke, Lube, Luganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Sukume, and Kikuyu, your Bantu, Swahili, Makawi, and Yanje, Bimbe, Shone, Tasange, Northern Soto, Zulu, Southern Soto, Kosa, Tiswane, and Dange Umbundu. There are many other Niger Congo speaking groups of people that are not even listed on this page, on this map. Now, this map here is a map of the Afro-Asiatic. Now, the Afro-Asiatic languages are include the following branches: the Berber, the Chadic, the Cushitic, Egyptian, Omotic, and Semitic. Now, the Berber languages are a family of similar and closely related language and dialects indigenous to North Africa. Berber is spoken by a large population in Algeria, Morocco, and by smaller population in Libya, Tunisia, northern Mali, western and northern Niger, northern Burkina Faso, Mauritania, and in the Ceuta oasis of Egypt. Berber constitutes a branch of the Afro-Asiatic language family, and one of 6 major varieties of Berber, each with at least 2 million speakers. In the order, demographic weight, Tashilhit, Kabyle, Atlas, Tamizite, Rifian, Shawi, and Tuareg, and Shaberba. The Chadic. Chadic language are a branch of the Afro-Asiatic language family. They are spoken in parts of the Sahel. It's spoken across northern Nigeria, southern Niger, southern Chad, Central African Republic, and northern Cameroon. The most widely spoken Chadic language is Hassay. Now, the 2 branches which include the West Chadic, A, the Hassay, Rom, Boli, and Angus language, and B, the Badi, Waja, and Zar language. Now, then your Central Chadic, Bu Madare, 3 branches include A, the Bure, Kanwi, and Bete languages. Then your B, Badume, Musku, and C, Gaidar. The East Chadic, 2 branches include A, the Tumac, Nansiri, and Kire language, and B, Dangaliet, Makulu, and Socorro, and Maasai. That's your Chadic language. Kushite. The Kushite language are a branch of the Afro-Asiatic language family, spoken primarily in the Horn of Africa, Somalia, Eritrea, Djibouti, and Ethiopia, as well as the Nile Valley, Sudan, and Egypt, and parts of the African Great Lakes region, Tanzania, and Kenya. And excuse me. The most widely spoken Kushite language is Oromo, followed by Somali. And Sademo. Now, Kushite language, the following branches: Baal, North Kushite, Agar language, Central Kushite, Highland East Kushite, Sadamic, Lowland East Kushite, Ballet language, and South Kushite. That's the Kushite language. The Egyptian language, spoken in ancient Egypt, was a branch of the Afro-Asiatic language family. Now, the scholars, they grouped the Egyptian language into 6 major chronological divisions: Archaic Egyptian language, Old Egyptian language, Middle Egyptian language, Late Egyptian language, Demotic, and Coptic. It's the Egyptian language. The Omatic language are a branch of the Afro-Asiatic language family, spoken in southwestern Ethiopia. Now, the North and South Omatic branches, Nomadic and Somatic, are universally recognized. Now, the Semitic languages are a branch of the Afro-Asiatic language family, originating in the Middle East. Semitic languages are spoken by more than 330 million people. Now, most widely spoken Semitic languages today: Arabic, Amharic, Tigrinya, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Maltese. Now, Arabic is a Central Semitic language spoken Iron Age Northwestern Arabia. Now, it's the lingua franca of the Arab world. Now, Arabic usually designates one of three main variants: Classical Arabic, Modern Standard Arabic, and Colloquial Dialectical Arabic. That's the Arabic. Now, the Amharic is a Semitic language spoken in Ethiopia. It is the second most spoken Semitic language in the world after Arabic, and the official working language of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Now, the now when we talk about the Amharic language, we have to always talk about the Rastafari movement. The etymology of the word Rastafari comes from Amharic. Rastafari was the pre-regnal title of Haile Selassie I, composed of the Amharic words Ras, literally head, and Ethiopian title equivalent to Do, and Haile Selassie pre-regnal name Tafari. Many Rastafarians learn Amharic as a second language they consider it to be a sacred language. After Haile Selassie in 1966 visit to Jamaica, study circles in Amharic were organized into making part of the ongoing exploration of Pan-African identity and culture. Okay, that's Amharic. Tigrinya. Tigrinya is an Afro-Asiatic language of the Semitic branch. It is mainly spoken in Eritrea and northern Ethiopia and the Horn of Africa. Now that's the Tigrinya. Hebrew. Hebrew is a language native to Israel, spoken by over 9 million people worldwide. It is regarded as the language of the Israelites and their ancestors. Hebrew belongs to the West Semitic branch of the Afro-Asiatic language family. The Hebrew language is the only living Canaanite language left. Hebrew belongs to the Canaanite group of languages. The Canaanite languages are a branch of the Northwest Semitic family of languages. The Canaanite language or Canaanite dialects are one or two subgroups: Northwest Semitic language, the other being the Aramaic language. They were spoken by the ancient peoples of the Canaan region. The Canaanites, broadly defined to include the Israelites, the Phoenicians, Amorites, Ammonites, Moabites, and Edomites. Northern Canaan, Phoenician, later Punic, and South Canaan, Hebrew, Ammonite, Moabite, and Edomite. Then there's some others, Amorite. So that's your Hebrew. Your Aramaic. Aramaic is a family of languages or dialects belonging to the Semitic subfamily of the Afro-Asiatic language family. It is part of the Northwest Semitic group, which includes the Canaanite languages such as Hebrew and Phoenician. Now, the Aramaic is broken down into three broad periods: Old Aramaic, Middle Aramaic, and Modern Aramaic. Maltese is the national language of Malta and a co-official language of the country alongside English. It also serves an official language of the European Union. The only Semitic language so distinguished, Maltese, is descended from Sakulo-Arabic, the variety of Arabic that developed in Sicily and was later introduced to Malta. So that's the Maltese, and that's the Semitic language, or the Afro-Asiatic language family. Let me see, right there. Now, this right here is a Nilo-Saharan language distribution map. Now, the Nilo-Saharan languages are a proposed family of African languages spoken by some 50 to 60 million Nilotic people, mainly in the upper parts of the Chari Nile rivers, including historic Nubia, north of where the two tributaries of the Nile meet. Languages extend through 17 nations in the northern half of Africa, from Algeria to Benin in the west, from Libya to the Democratic Republic of Congo in the center, and from Egypt to Tanzania in the east. Now, some of the major languages of the Nilo-Saharan, the Luo, Kenya's third largest ethnicity after the Niger Congo speaking Agakuyu and Luya, the Kanuri, including Kanimbu, major ethnicity around Lake Chad, the Sangye, mostly Zarme, spread along the Niger River in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger throughout the historic Sangye Empire, including its former capital, Gao, and the well-known city of Timbuktu. Tiso, related to Masai. Nubian, the language of Nubia, from southern Egypt into northern Sudan. Lubare, including Ringe, the major Central Sudanic language, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Nanda Marwite languages, the Kenya Rift Valley, Lango, that's a Luo language, one of the major languages of Uganda. Your Dinka, the major ethnicity of South Sudan. Acholi, another Luo language of Uganda. The Nuer, another numerous people from South Sudan and Ethiopia. The Maasai, people of Kenya, one of the most well-known African peoples internationally. The Ngambe, Central Sudan, the principal language of Southern Chad. And your Fur, that's the language of Darfur province in Western Sudan. The Tugu, one of the northernmost Nilo-Saharan languages extended from Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and to Libya. Most Tugu speakers live in northern Chad, close to Tbilisi, Now Tubu has two main varieties, the Daze language and the Tide language. So that's the Nilo-Sahara. And as you know, uh, there are many groups of people that live on the continent of Africa. So now you know some important issues that we have to deal with. Some important, and the issue is so important that we have to dedicate our time to addressing this issue. And it's an issue that has has been it's been an issue that's been around for some years, and it shouldn't have been, but it is. And the issue that we're talking about is that gang issue, uh, street gang, drug gang, gang, and it's an issue that the government excuse, that the United States government, as well as other governments around the world, been trying to address this issue, and and rightly so, because nobody should be walking around thinking that an individual is supposed to be a member of a gang. Now, we know the etymology of the word gang, gangster. We know the etymology of the word mob and mobster. We know the etymology of the word thug. We know the etymology of the word goon. Uh, we know the etymology of the word hooligan. We know the etymology of the word hooligan. We know the etymology of the word ruffian, and some of these other words that organized crime and gangs use. And and we know today that the sororities and the fraternities are uh, one of the main sources of influence that individuals use as an excuse to be a to belong to a gang, or understand. And we know that that way of life is not right, it's wrong, and that the sorority and the fraternities are wrong, not just about gangs, about practically every damn thing else. The sorority fraternity is wrong about, because there's nothing that's saying that a sorority is right, that you're supposed to be that you supposed to belong to a sorority, that you supposed to belong to a fraternity either, because it's a gang. That what sorority and fraternity is, it's another gang. That's what it is. And we know that, like I said, United States government as well as other governments around the world, they addressing the issue. But what we shouldn't do is assume that the government hasn't been trying to address. See, a lot of information, like we just talked about in the past, information gets suppressed for various reasons by the government. They suppress information, and but that don't mean that the government is allowing people to influence others with the sorority and the fraternity, and with the gang and organized crime. And the United States government passed laws and things of this nature. When we study American history, and world history, there's specifically organized crime and gang is not included in American history and world history, like specifically, it's worded in the history books, and it said organized crime did this or did that, or didn't do this and do that. The gang did this or the gang did that, or the gang didn't do this or the gang didn't do that. History, American history or world history, doesn't specify organized crime or doesn't specify gang. But when you understand the history of gang organized crime, and when you see information about American history, world history, that's when you start seeing organized crime in the gang being identified in American history and world history. For example, the 13 colonies here in the United States of America, the 13 colonies, what they refer to as the first settlers to America. When we talk about organized crime and we talk about the gang, the first settlers came to America. And even before then, when the Spanish came to America, you understand? And when the Spanish came to America, they had slaves with them, you understand? And the slaves were Africans. And so when we talk about gang organized crime, we should not have this perception in our mind that the United States government as well as governments around the world, that they haven't been trying to address gangs, organized crime. We talk about the Revolutionary War, or we can talk about the Civil War. When we keep emphasizing gangs, organized crime, you can't say that you don't see that organized crime and that the gang was here in America, and that's who was fighting the Civil War, and that's who was being enslaved. You understand? They brought the slaves over, and the slaves were taught to be gang in the South, and the free slaves, free blacks in the North, they were taught by the Northern whites to be in the gang in the North. Then when you fought the Civil War, it was a gang fight between the North, the Europeans in the North, and the Europeans in the South. It was a gang fight. There was a lot of people got killed. Africans and Europeans got killed. They got wounded. And sure. But you don't say that the United States government wasn't trying to address organized crime and gang, because that was what the United States government was doing something about, was about organized crime and a gang. And then after the Civil War, the United States government had to do something about the post-Civil War America. And if they didn't do something about it, then you'll have a problem with organized crime and gang again. So the United States government passed some laws, the 14th Amendment, free the slaves, guarantee everybody equal protection under the law, and the Reconstruction Act, and so many other things that the United States government was doing to address this issue of organized crime and gang. And so what we're getting at is this: we got to continue to emphasize that the government has been doing something about the street gang, about gang and organized crime, like they're doing today. For example, about almost 70-some years ago, about 70 years, the United States government passed the Organized Crime Control Act, Organized Crime Control Act, and in that bill was the RICO Act, the Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organizations Act. But see, the United States government was addressing the issue of organized crime, and in that bill, gang. And so the United States government was doing something then, they're doing something now. And they continue to do things to address this issue of organized crime and gang. And while we've been talking about gang, we've been referring to the National Gang Centers, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and there's a bulletin, History of Street Gangs in America, as well as Wikipedia, gangs in the United States, because in the information on Wikipedia, the references is to the National Gang Center, so the information is the same. It's the same, and we've been referring to some books that's in the bulletin, in the introduction. Some books that we've been referring to. One of those books, titled "A History of Crime in England, Illustrating the Changes of the Laws in the Progress of Civilization," Volume 1 and Volume 2. The author of that book, Luke Owen Pike. The second book, Hooligan, A History of Respectable Fears. And the author of that book is Jeffrey Pearson. And the author spells his first name as Geoffrey. And the third book that we've been referring to is Low Life, Lures and Snares of Old New York. And the author of that book spells his first name Luc, and last name Sante. and which is referring to those books is very important, because you just couldn't read that bulletin, which is 25 pages long, and 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 have this perception in your mind that you understand the information that's contained in the bulletin. And so, by continue to talk about the gang, what we're talking about is what the United States government, as well as other governments around the world, is doing to address this issue of gang organized crime. And the United States government has passed a law, the Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, and in that bill, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, the Community-Oriented Policing Services, the Project Safe Neighborhoods, Gang Prevention and Oversight, an overview of research and programs. That's the National Gang Center. And also, the youth.gov. Go to youth.gov. When you go to youth.gov, you'll be informed about the comprehensive gang model. The comprehensive gang model. Excuse me. Okay, let me see. Okay. Gang involvement prevention. Now, they got this, when you go to youth.gov, they had this, they had this box that you can click. And then when you go to gang involvement prevention, you'll look over there to the right. And when you see prevention efforts, click prevention efforts. And when you see prevention efforts, you'll see the comprehensive gang model. Now, the comprehensive gang model is community. The comprehensive game model developed by the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention. See that? That's who did it. That's what I'm gonna read that again. The comprehensive game model was developed by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. That's the Department of Justice. That's the United States Department of Justice. Focuses on community prevention and intervention in balance with law enforcement suppression activities. The model involved 5 strategies for responding to gang-involved youth and their families. These include community mobilization, the involvement of local citizens, including former gang members and community groups and agencies, and the coordination of programs and staff functions within and across agencies. Opportunities provisions, the development of a variety of specific education, training, and employment programs targeting gang-involved youth. Social intervention, youth service agencies, schools, street outreach workers, grassroots groups, faith-based organizations, law enforcement agencies, and other criminal justice organizations reaching out and acting as links between gang-involved youth and their families, the conventional world, and needed services, suppression, formal and informal social control procedures, including close supervision of or monitoring of gang youth by agencies of the criminal justice system, also by community-based agencies, schools, and grassroots groups. Organizational change and development and implementation of policies and procedures that result in the most effective use of available and potential resources to better address the gang problem. Now, so like I said, for everybody that's listening, you go to when you go to youth.gov, and then you go to the box where you can click, and then they'll have some choices for you to choose from. And then once you choose gang-involved youth, you go to prevention efforts. And when you go to prevention efforts, there you will find a comprehensive gang model, which was developed by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, which is the United States Department of Justice. And and also another government agency that's addressing the gang problem is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Prevent gang membership. Injury Prevention and Control, Division of Violence Prevention. That's the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And also the Office of Justice Programs, the National Institute of Justice, and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Changing course. Preventing youth from joining gangs. And also anti-gang strategies. Prevention, intervention, assessment, and suppression. And also the National Gang Intelligence Center. And also the Organized Crime and Gang Section. And there are some other federal, state, and local departments and agencies that are addressing organized crime and gangs. The National Gang Center. And the National Gang Center also has the compilation of state laws against gangs. And the United States Attorney General, there's a law on the books, the Criminal Street Gang Statute, 1457. United States Code 521. And there's a non-profit organization the National Crime Prevention Council, and they are coordinating their efforts with the federal, state, and local governments. The Bureau of Justice Assistance, they have a program called Keeping Kids Out of Gangs. Keeping Kids Out of Gangs. And while we talking about the sorority and fraternity, we know that the federal, state, and local government is addressing the hazing, and laws have been passed about the sororities and fraternities committing a crime. Hazing is a crime. They teach, they try to influence people who haven't been to college, who haven't been to school, and especially little children, be influenced by sororities and fraternities, and they be taught to haze each other by the sorority and fraternity. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna flip this camera so I can show you the books. Then I'm gonna flip it back. So we're gonna continue to refer to those books. But I know today I don't have really just much time. I'm gonna have just enough time just to do a little reading on the African traditional religion. And but like I say, the books that we've been referring to, A History of Crime in England, illustrating the change of the laws and the progress of civilization. The author of that book, Luke Owen Pike. Hooligan: A History of Respect, referred to the author of that book, Jeffrey Pearson. And the third book that we've been referring to, Low Life, Lures and Snares of Old New York. And the author of that book, first name L-U-C, last name S-A-N-T. And we're gonna get back on those books. And in the introduction of A History of Street Gangs in America, as well as gangs in the United States. Right now, we can do some reading on African traditional religion before. And the first book we're going to read is West African Traditional Religion. The author of the book, written by Dr. Joseph Omasai Valelu and Dr. P. Adalumo Lupemu. And we read from chapter 7, God in the Society. And we read from 7.76, some West African secret societies. The Poro Society of Sierra Leone is for training adolescents. The society is the oldest association among the Mende, and it has its branches among Timni, Sherbo, Bay, local all ethnic groups in Sierra Leone and in Liberia. It is a male organization. The Poro Society is controlled by spirits who are represented by masked figures. The Poro enclosure, which is usually adjacent to the town of village, is the place where sacrifices are offered to the Poro spirits. Every male must be initiated to this society. Until one has become a member of the Poro, one is considered immature. The Poro session takes place in the dry season between November and May. During the session, several sets of initiates may be admitted. The session is inaugurated by the senior members offering a sacrifice to solicit the favor of Poro spirits. A gift is also made to the paramount chief to seek his approval and patronage for the session. A place in the bush is selected as a temporary camp and cleared. Huts are set up for the initiates, and a path is cut from the camp to the town. Throughout the session, the camp is strictly out of bounds to non-members except that the parents of the candidates bring them food during training. On the eve of the session, the Poro men go from house to house collecting the candidates whom they escort to the bush. At the entrance to the camp, the initiates are met by an official who asks them a number of questions to which they must answer yes. Such questions include, could you carry water in a basket? Or could you uproot a full-grown palm tree with your bare hands? The official then make an attempt to pull the candidate inside, while the latter offers a show of resistance. At the third attempt, the novice is drawn inside. The boys receive new names by which they are to be addressed throughout the training, and after it, they are named according to the order in which they enter the bush. The candidates also pay the initiation fee consisting of a leaf or tobacco. But today, a money payment is made. Also, a boy who has not been circumcised receives circumcision before initiation rites begin. The candidate receives the marks of membership consisting of a series of short cuts made on the neck, the back, and the breast. The marks are given according to the order in which the candidate entered the bush. The operation is usually painful, and clapping of hands by members usually drowns the noise of the boys' cries so that passers-by, especially women and children, do not overhear them. we stop right there. And we just read from 7.6, some West African secret society. We just read from chapter 7, God and Society. And we just read from the book titled West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Omasede Evalelu and Dr. P. Adalumo Depemu. The next book we're going to be reading from is titled African Traditional Religion, a Definition, written by Dr. E. Beloja Adowu. And we read from chapter 5, the structure of African traditional religion. And we read from number 5, the practice of magic and medicine. With regard to techniques, the difference may be summarized as follows. In religion, the technique is through a system of rituals which create an atmosphere of worship and constitute a means of approach, the end of which is that worship may be an offering and a communion between deity and man. Religion speaks to one who hears, one who listens, one who accepts, and one who blesses. In magic, the technique consists in spells and enchantments made up of secret or archaic language or cryptic terminology and expressions which may be utterly unintelligible even to the operator, but calculated to have the efficacy of fulfilling the will of man. Thus, while religion addresses itself to deity in a spirit of appeal and submission, magic goes by the operative factors based on the principles of similarity, continuity, and unusualness. And we're going to stop right there. And we just read from number 5, the practice of magic and medicine. And we read from chapter 5, the structure of African traditional religion. And we just read from the book titled African Traditional Religion, a Definition, written by Dr. E. Beloja Adowu. Next book we're going to read is titled African Religions and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. Mbidi. And we read from chapter 6, God and Nature. And we read from C, God, Natural Objects, and Phenomena. Certain caves and holes are given religious meaning. In many societies like the Akambe, Lesotho, Ewa, Yao, and others, it is told that God brought the first men out of a hole or cave. The Shone have their famous sacred caves from which God is supposed to speak. One Gisu legend tells that once God lived in a deep hole on Mount Elgon, which is volcanic. Start right there. Just read from C, God, natural objects and phenomena. And we read from chapter 6, God and nature. And we just read from the book titled African Religions and Philosophy, written by Dr. John X. M. B. We're going to continue our reading from the book titled Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John X. M. B. And we're reading from part 4, God and Man. And we're reading from number 17, worship, prayers, and other appeals to God. And we're reading from prayers. At their annual ceremonies, the Jah offers sacrifice and prayer to God under the leadership of the most senior man. He stands up and holding a freshly cut staff, conducts the prayer, affirming the belief that the rain will come in sufficient quantities and that the crops will grow. All the other men respond in a chorus, affirming the same hope. Then each man gets up and prays for rain, health, and fertility of the people. And other ceremonial prayers are made that God will ward off, render pests, bless the cattle, bring rain, good harvest, health, and fertility. We'll start right there. Hold on. Next page. When there is a drought, the Kagoro assemble on a special day to pray and make sacrifices, and rain always comes within a day or two. They also pray at the new moon that God would give them health and prosperity during the coming month. Their neighbors, the Qatar, pray to God only at the sight of the new moon, but normally they pray through their living dead and forefathers whom they regard as their intermediaries. The rainmakers always pray to God when performing their rites, but thank their forefathers when they succeed. The Lotuko pray to God for success in fishing and hunting, and at their harvest festival, they believe that their departed intercede with God on their behalf for rain. Stop right there. We just read from prayers. Number 17, worship, prayers, and other appeals to God. And we just read from part 4, God and man. And we just read from the book titled Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S. M.B. We get ready to end today's video. And I want to thank all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement and support. And I'll continue to work on my entertainment, my music, and we're gonna continue to emphasize and stress the importance of addressing this issue of street gangs and drug gangs, organized crime, and so on and so forth. Because we know it's a serious issue. It needs to be addressed, and we're gonna continue to go forward. And like I say, we're not gonna just sit idly by and have individuals with this perception in their mind that oh, it ain't nothing wrong with no gang and all this. Well, we know that's a lie. And oh yeah, before I end today, in my video today, if I can see, what's behind me. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure I can see behind me. That way, on this video, okay. Like I said, we're gonna get ready to end today's video. And to my next video, wish everybody the best, and hope everybody had a happy Christmas. And we know that a new year finna come in, so wish everybody a happy new year. And take care of yourself. Wish each and every one of you the very best.